The AK-12 and AK-15 are modernised versions of the AK-74 and AKM. These firearms were developed as part of the Russian Ratnik program, a program to create a modernised and highly effective fighting force. In 1947, Mikhail Kalashnikov designed the AK-47, a simple long-stroke gas-operated assault rifle chambered in 7.62 by 39mm. The design simplicity was what made it so good. It was incredibly durable and reliable and could easily be used by poorly trained conscript soldiers. In 1949, the AK-47 was accepted as the Soviet Union's service rifle. A number of revisions would be made for the AK-47, such as the AKM, an even simpler and cheaper version of the AK. In 1974, likely in response to the United States adoption of the M16 and the 5.56 by 45mm round, the AK-74 was designed. This was a variant of the AKM chambered in 5.54 by 39mm. This round was much smaller and thus faster than the 7.62 round, and also produced less recoil. In 1991, the AK-74M was designed, a modernised version of the AK-74. The main changes between the rifle was the lightening of the AK-74M. Things like the bolt were lightened, making the gun lighter and allowing for smoother operation. The wood furniture of the AK-74 was replaced with polymer, giving the gun a more modern look and making it far lighter. The stock was also side-folding, making the gun much more compact for storage and transportation. A muzzle brake was added to the end of the barrel, greatly reducing the already very low recoil of a 5.45 round. From 2011 to 2014, Vladimir Zlobin, a former senior small arms designer at Chula Arms Design Bureau, working for Ashevsk, designed a further modernised version of the AK-74M, dubbed the AK-12. This design contained many minor visual changes from the original AK-74. The receiver and dust cover were slightly modified, alongside the bolt carrier being modified so it could be changed to be ambidextrous. A completely different pistol grip was used. The most major difference was the inclusion of Picatinny rails along the top of the dust cover and on the top and bottom of the handguard. This allowed for a much more versatile platform for mounting optics and other accessories, rather than the dovetail mount used by the AK-74M. This rifle was entered into the Ratnik trials, but was rejected for being too expensive and fragile. In 2013, Izhmash and Ashevsk, both suffering from economic woes, decided to merge the two companies into the Kalashnikov concern group. This merger led to the Zlobin AK-12, which was being refined by Ashevsk, being discontinued. In 2014, Kalashnikov Concern decided to work on creating a second AK-12, taking design cues from the AK-100 series of rifle, a number of variants of the AK platform primarily used by the Eastern European countries in NATO. The prototype rifle was designated by Kalashnikov Concern as the AK-400. The AK-400 was entered into a second round of Ratnik trials, where it performed well. In 2016, the rifle was accepted for field trials in two versions, the AK-12 and AK-15, chambered in 5.45 and 7.62 respectively. From 2016 to 2017, the AK-12 and 15 were used in field tests in a variety of climates and by a variety of troops. The rifles performed well enough to be accepted by the Russian army, and by late 2018 they began being mass-produced. In 2020, a final version of the AK-12 and AK-15 was designed, improving the pistol grip, stock, and sight. That same year, a version designed specifically for the Spetsnaz was made, dubbed the AK-12 SP. This variant modified the safety selector, making it ambidextrous and removing the 2-round burst mode. A cheek riser was also added to the stock, making the use of optics easier. The main function of the AK-12 didn't change from the AK-74, though a 2-round burst fire mode was added, which fires 2 rounds when the trigger is pressed. The AK-12 safety lever was slightly modified to make it easier to use, though because of the extra 2-round burst mode it can be difficult to choose the firing mode you wanted, and the lever can very easily be pushed past the end of the receiver, blocking the trigger. The stock of the AK-12 is greatly improved from the Zlobin prototype, and is very similar to the AR-15 Magpul stock. It is adjustable and folding. The front sight has been incorporated into the gas block, which has also been made non-removable, which makes cleaning more difficult. The AK-12 keeps the same Picatinny rails as the Zlobin prototype, stretching from the back of the dust cover to the front of the handguard. The final main modification is in the magazine. The entire design of the magazine has been changed, adding windows into the side, allowing for the firearm operator to check how many rounds they have left. At the bottom of the magazine, a flattened section has been added, which makes it easier for the operator to rest their firearm on the ground while shooting. The AK-12 and AK-15 are effective modernizations of the AK-74 and AKM rifles. They have been criticized for many design features such as the 2-round burst and handguard, which can very easily be moved, making it difficult to rest the handguard on something like a windowsill while firing. Despite this, the AK-12 and AK-15 are still a better option than the AK-74 and AK-74M and the AKM, and are sure to be rifles notorious in the history books.